Hello, this is Sandy Gallagher welcoming you back into Lesson 10 of Thinking into Results. I have a question for you. Are you a leader or a follower? Before you answer, consider this. Do you know how to lead yourself? If you don't, you probably won't be a good leader for anyone else. I'm always hearing Bob say that he's both a leader and a follower. He knows when to lead and he knows when to follow. Before you can become a good leader, you have to be a good follower. Take the filming of this video training program, Thinking into Results. Bob was a follower, a star too, of course, but he was a follower. He said, you tell me what you want me to do, tell me what you want me to say, where you want me to be, and when, and I'm there. And then, when he's in his role as CEO of the holding company, he's telling us what to do. I think this is a really powerful lesson because it moves everyone towards a leadership role. It makes the leader an exceptional leader because they bring out the best in their people and get them to feel good about themselves. A powerful way of empowering others. Are you ready to step into the role of a leader? Stay tuned.
I want to share an idea with you that literally changed my life. It changed how I see the world. It changed how I work. It changed how I deal with other people. And it came out of my little book that I have never stopped reading. I've been reading this book, as I said, probably longer than you've been living. I started to read this particular copy in 1963, but I had another copy for a couple of years before that. Now, do you know, I would just wake up in the morning and I'd go and do whatever I thought I had to do. No thought to how I was going to do it. I would just get up and go through my routine. And then I started to study this book, and I came across this. Listen carefully. Napoleon Hill said, broadly speaking, there are two types of people in the world. One is known as leaders, and the other is known as followers. Decide at the outset whether you intend to be a leader in your chosen calling or remain a follower. Now, he said the difference in compensation is vast. Now, do you see, at that time, I was deep in debt. I really had no hope of getting out of debt, but I did have a goal of earning some money. And I was thinking of money. So when he said here, the difference in compensation is vast, that's when I got wired into what I'm reading. He said the follower cannot reasonably expect the compensation to which a leader is entitled, although many followers make the mistake of expecting such pay. Now, he said it's no disgrace to be a follower. On the other hand, it's no credit to remain a follower. Now, he said most great leaders began in the capacity of followers. They became great leaders because they were intelligent followers. With few exceptions, the person who cannot follow a leader intelligently cannot become an efficient leader. Now, do you know, I thought about that for a long time. I kept rolling it around in my mind. And of course, I was going to say I had chosen to do something different. I didn't choose it. Someone chose me. There was a man chose to help me. He saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself. I guess today we would call him a coach or a mentor. He was just another man that spent some time talking to me. And he got me onto this book. And so I started to read this, and I was sharing this with him. Well, he said, Bob, you're just really beginning to wake up. And he said, you don't have a lot going for you on the surface, but you've got an enormous power going inside. And as you gain a better understanding, you can go anywhere and do anything you want. Now, do you see, I was operating with the idea because I didn't have any specific credentials. I had no formal education, no business experience, that I could never be a leader. Oh, he said, that's not true. He said some of the greatest leaders that ever lived never saw the inside of a school. Some of them were functionally illiterate, but they understood how to work with other people. I love the way Larry Wilson put it. He said, a leader is a person that has people following them because they want to. People want to follow them. The leader has a vision. They know where they're going, and their people buy into that vision. Now, I didn't understand that when Ray was going over this with me, but he said, Bob, what you want to do is follow what Napoleon Hill's talking about. Become an intelligent follower. Become the best follower that you're capable of becoming. Because you see, he pointed out in here, the person who isn't a good follower is never going to be a good leader. Now, this book led me to Earl Nightingale. It led me to study Earl Nightingale's material. Now, listen to this. In Earl Nightingale's Lead the Field program, and this is something that I have studied now for many, many years, since around 1962, Earl's talking about leading. And we can look at it today, leading in the new economy. You see, we're living in a different economy. The economy we're living in today isn't the economy that we were born into. He said every business, every organization, from the smallest to the largest, needs a leader. Now, you see, I already had this idea running around my head from the Think and Grow Rich book. So when I looked at that, he said every business, every organization, from the smallest to the very largest, needs a leader. He said they have committees, they are echelons of command, and perhaps a widely dispersed group of semi-autonomous divisions. But the overall company and each of its divisions must have strong and able leadership. Contrary to popular belief, you do not raise morale in an organization, it filters down from the top. The attitudes of the people working in any organization will always reflect the attitude of the leader. And finally, this leader will always be found to be just one person. Now that's important for you to understand. That's important for me to understand. I love the way Chris Haggerty put it one time. He's a management consultant out in the West Coast of America. He said the goal of most leaders, yes, to get the people to think highly of them as a leader. But he said the goal of the exceptional leader is to get the people to think highly of themselves. Do you know, Earl Nightingale told a story, and it's a story that I remember very clearly. I will paraphrase it, of course, but he talked about even during the Great Depression, when all the businesses had great big signs hanging outside, no help wanted. You know, when you see a company that has a sign saying no help wanted, what they're really saying is, we need help. Because a company is either growing or dying. And if it's growing, they're going to need good people. They're going to need more people. I remember when I went to work for the Nightingale Conant Corporation, I sat down with Lloyd Conant. I wanted to work with them. I wanted to work with them so bad because I knew I'd get an education that would be second to none. And I told Lloyd, I said, Lloyd, I've studied your company. The programs that they were marketing told you to do that. I said, I've studied your company and I've studied where you're going. He said, and I said, your company's growing. And I said, you need good people. And I said, I'm a good man. I said, I've got great habits and I want to help you build this company. And do you want me to start today or would you prefer I wait till the middle of the month? He laughed and he looked at me and he said, and what would you expect to get paid for this job that you're going to get? I said, it really doesn't matter, Lloyd. I said, ultimately, I'm going to get what I'm worth. You just give me whatever you want. And that was true. See, if you're very valuable, they don't want to lose you. They're going to pay you. And if you're not very valuable, well, if they lose you, it doesn't really matter. Some people, when they leave, they don't even have to be replaced because they're not doing any consequence anyway. But the story that Earl was telling about during the Great Depression, he knew a man that could get a job anywhere he wanted. When most people would take any job they could get, they were just happy to have work. He would study a company, and he would study what they do. And then he would send a message to the president of the company. And he would say, you know, I have been studying your company, and I've been studying your industry, and in your company in particular, and I have some ideas that I believe you'll be very interested in that will substantially improve the bottom line on your financial statement. He said this guy could get an appointment with any executive he wanted because that's what all the executives were looking for. They were looking for someone that could lead them out of the situation they were in. And of course, he always got a job wherever he wanted. Well, do you know, your organization is looking for leadership. For someone that sees himself as a strong leader. Now, a leader always has a great attitude. A leader will see the good in other people. They'll attempt to create a situation that brings out the good in the other people. The leader is the person that other people want to follow. You see, you can go and you can study this in Harvard or in Eton, but you bring it right down to the smallest and the simplest common denominator. It's a person that operates on a creative plane. It's a person that understands who they are. In other words, developing our own inner leadership. We've got to lead ourselves. And if we don't know how to lead ourselves, we'll never lead anybody else. So we're bringing leadership in this program down to the very basics. It's understanding who you are. It's taking control over your own life. It's having a good attitude regardless of what's going on outside. It's knowing that you have the creative ability and you have the capacity to create anything you want in your world, whether it's on an individual basis or in your team or in your corporation. See yourself as that person. And always see the best in other people. Do you know there's far more room at the top than there ever will be at the bottom? Always. And you will just naturally gravitate to the top. These ideas on leadership that I've been studying for many years will not give you a brain hernia. They're simple ideas, but they're ideas that anybody can incorporate into the image they hold of themselves. He's talking about the major attributes of leadership. He talks about unwavering courage, you see. It's based upon the knowledge of self and one's occupation. No follower wishes to be dominated by a leader who lacks self-confidence and courage. No intelligent follower will be dominated by a leader like that very long. You've got to have unwavering courage if you want to lead. You know, I like the way Earl put it one time. He said the opposite to courage is not cowardice. It's conformity. It's just going along with the masses, doing whatever the masses are saying. The second point that Hill talks about being essential in leadership is self-control. If you can't control you, how are you going to lead? These are basic concepts. You'll find all these in Think and Grow Rich. In the chapter on organized planning, he said, another one is a keen sense of justice. You know, we say that God is a just God. Now, a lot of people say, well, I don't believe that because they're letting what's going on outside dictate that. But if you study the laws of the universe, you're going to find that everybody gets exactly the same deal. The law is something that happens every time with every person everywhere. The law, in my opinion, is God's modus operandi. It's how the whole scheme of things is run. Well, you have to have a keen sense of justice. And he said, definiteness of decision. Do you know that most people never learn how to make decisions? They've got an idea and they know what to do, but they're looking for approval. That's why they're always saying, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? They're frequently asking people that don't think. and what they're going to get is an opinion. That's based on absolutely no knowledge. Do you know that every decision has an answer? It does. See, a decision, the opposite side of decision is procrastination. When you ask a question, the question has an answer. If you look up in Webster's dictionary, you'll see that a rhetorical question is a question without an answer. I've come to the conclusion that that's a statement, that's not a question. See, questions have answers, okay? Questions have answers. And when you ask a question, the answer's there. You got to be aware of it. And your awareness of the answer is usually the decision you make. But if we don't have the confidence that we require to lead, we're going to be running around saying, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? Do you want to follow somebody that's always asking other people, what do you think I should do? I don't think so. He's talking about definiteness of plans. You got to have some plans. You got to know where you're going. You got to know how you're going to get there. Now understand this. The plan can change. The goal cannot. You do not change the goal, you can change the plan. And since we're making the plans and we're not perfect, we are in essence, but we haven't brought the perfection to the surface, some of the plans are going to be flawed and we'll have to change them. He said the habit of doing more than you're being paid for. Do you know, I studied this a long time ago. He said, if you're not doing more than you're being paid for, you're never going to be paid for more than you're doing. It took me years to understand that. I'm not going to explain it beyond there. I want you to think about it the way I've thought about it. If you're not willing to do more than you're being paid for, you're never going to be paid for more than you're doing. Most people are waiting to get paid before they'll do it. That's like standing in front of a stove and saying, give me the heat and then I'll put on the wood. It won't fly. That dog won't hunt. You've got to understand these things. You have to have a pleasant personality. Who wants to follow someone that's got a mean and miserable personality? I don't think anybody does. These are basic laws of leadership. Sympathy and understanding. Sympathy and understanding. Understanding is really the key. Understanding is the polar opposite to worry and doubt. Understanding can only be accomplished one way, through study. There's no other way. Now, there's many forms of study. But if you want to lead, you must understand. You must understand who you are. You must understand the laws of your being. You have to understand the other person. And you'll never understand the other person if you don't understand yourself. Mastery of detail. And you know what I found? You don't have to master it yourself, but you have to have people that will. You have to have people that will. You've got to understand how to lead. These are all basics. Willingness to assume full responsibility. See, responsibility is the key to freedom. I like the way Harry Truman had a little sign under his desk. It said, the buck stops here. I take full and complete responsibility for the position that our company is in, because I'm the leader in the company. And if I'm not prepared to take responsibility, this company's not going to go very far, very fast. And cooperation. We have to learn how to cooperate. These are basics. They're basics that I don't know as you ever master them, but you can continually improve upon your ability to develop this within yourself. But let's go back to where we started. You are never going to be an effective leader if you're not a real intelligent follower. Don't be afraid to follow. Follow the effective leader. And you know what you're going to learn? You're going to learn how to lead. And pretty soon people are going to want to follow you. And that's when you're going to be the intelligent leader. And remember what Chris Haggerty said. The goal of most leaders is to get the people to think highly of them as a leader. But he said the goal of the effective leader is to get the people to think highly of themselves. Get people to fall in love with themselves. Help them understand who they are. And you'll never have a problem leading other people. And remember what Earl Nightingale said. Attitude filters down from the top. You don't raise morale. It filters down from the top. Keep yourself in tune with the higher side of your personality. And you know something? The energy that you send off is going to be the energy that you'll find come back to you. Become a great leader.
You know, I love the point Bob just made about leaders. He said the goal of the exceptional leader is to get people to think highly of themselves. Isn't that a great leadership principle? Understanding your role, both as a leader and a follower, is vital to your well-being at work. Don't be afraid to follow. Follow an effective leader, and you'll learn how to lead. Learn as much as you can about yourself, and you'll be an effective leader. Discuss this concept of leadership with your team. Performing the exercises in the guide will clarify your comfort level with leading and following. You may be surprised at your leadership potential. What kind of leader do you choose to be?